Okay, so here I am on my own after there's some follow-on getting out of Spencer Stuart because they couldn't understand why I was willing to leave at this point, and there was attempts to have me stay by the president of the company, great guy, but no, I just felt it was time. I didn't like the breach that I thought took place, and I really was eager to get out on my own anyway. So this was an opportunity for me to do that. And so the question might be, how am I going to survive as a loner with all these major search firms that I would be competing with? The truth of the matter is, in those 3 years that I worked, the 1 year with Case & Company and the 2 years with Spencer Stuart, I got to know a lot of people. I did a lot of searches in the time I was there. I got to meet a lot of top executives in companies, met a lot of people I couldn't ever attract to searches because they were very happy at what they were doing. But I just got to know a lot of people. Right. So I wasn't helpless out there on my own. There were people I could call. There were people I could let know I was on my own, one thing or another. So I did nail a first client, and that was a company called Ryan Incorporated of Wisconsin, where Representative Paul Ryan comes from that family, the one who ran with Romney. But that was referred to me by my Martin Marietta client. So I was out working. And when you're on your own, basically working in a home office, getting your thing together before you run a big office downtown.
Before there were home offices.
Before there were home offices. I was off and running right away with a client. And I got a real taste of what it meant to do the things you have to do to run your own business instead of having all the structures around you that are provided by other businesses. So that was a great start for me to have a client almost immediately. And then after that, I got a call from Playboy to do a key search for that company. And that occurred because I had brought Playboy as a client into Spencer Stuart. But when I left Spencer Stuart, they went with me. So I had a search to do ahead of all direct mail for Playboy. Well, Playboy in those days was a magazine with about 7 million circulation. I mean, they were really riding high. So ahead of direct mail marketing for that company was a big job. So I did bring an executive in who demanded a salary of $100,000 and my fee was $25,000. And that was money I'd never seen or smelled in my whole life. And I thought, this might just work. So not far after that, I got a call from Swift & Company, the old meat packer. Now, I had never done any work with Swift & Company, didn't really know anybody there, but the call I got was from a new head of human resources who used to be with the Sunbeam Company.
Now, this is when Swift was in the top Fortune 50.
Swift & Company at this time was the 22nd largest corporation in America. They weren't making any money, and they had a new management program going, and there were lots of things. You know, we could make a nice story business-wise, just talking about Swift & Company and the changes that went through.
But you're dealing with big companies now.
Big companies. And I want you to know that I went through a lot of changes with Swift & Company because Swift & Company changed its name to S-Mark. The guy who was really building this business at that time he had started with the company as the director of data processing. And today he's the CEO of Swift & Company, changing its name to S-Mark, acquiring all kinds of companies, Hunt Wesson, Transocean Oil Company, Vickers Petroleum. I mean, all of a sudden, insurance companies. Anyway, he brings this business up, makes it far more profitable, brings in a management philosophy, lets all of his top people know we're not running this business as it's been run. We're running on a return on assets, Your job is to run your business and send money.
But your job with them is search.
My job with them is search. So I began with finding a director of edible oils, which is a big thing when you're in the margarine business and all these other food products that need edible oils. So that was a key search, taught me a lot about the company. Everybody knows about Swift & Company because every pantry in America and every refrigerator has Swift products in it. But the company is changing dramatically and going into businesses it's never been in. So they changed the name. They become a darling of Wall Street. I am now working with the head of human resources and a CEO who went no further than the second year of college and a junior college in Chicago, and a man who is commanding all of these businesses, and it just keeps burgeoning, and profits keep increasing, and he works a 36-hour week. Well, I'd never heard of that, and I never saw that. And I decided, and we'll talk about this a little bit later, I'm sure, I never saw anybody do so well because he played a lot of golf. And
was that included in the 36 hours?
That was no, but he ran a business where he broke it into 4 groups, and each of the group heads were there to run their businesses. And so he would say, for instance, in a meeting to a guy, don't bring me recommendations and expect me to make the decision. You come to me and tell me the decision you made. If you made a stupid decision, I'll tell you, but it's your business, you run it. And don't think you're going to save money by not building a plant when you need to, because I'll figure that out too. So, I mean, he won their respect because he was very insightful. He was decisive, had a great sense of humor. Wall Street loved him. He was great with the press. He made investment people laugh. He was just a terrific guy to work with. So I ended up working with that company through its various transmutations, probably for 12 or 14 years. Probably did easily. I was put on retainer, bringing in financial executives because they needed all kinds of people in operational auditing. They needed VP of finance of this company, VP finance of this company. I probably worked with that company until they were merged with Beatrice. But even then, I went with the merger to some extent because when they merged with Beatrice, another person at Beatrice got the top job and Kelly stepped down. But it turns out after a few months, the man who got the top job wasn't up to it, and the board brought Kelly back to run that company. So I was still there doing business, and I probably worked with that company 12, 14 years, something like that. Beatrice got bought by ConAgra, and Kelly retired, and so that was the end of that client relationship. But I tend to have fewer clients for longer periods of time. So
still into search.
Still into search, although one of the companies at Esmark was a agricultural chemicals company, but very profitable, good size. I got to know the president real well, and I said, you know, we could really benefit. I think your company could benefit from a team building activity. So that was the first, and he said, okay, what does that mean? And I gave him a little outline of what I think an off-site team building thing would be. And so for that company, that was my first foray into a development activity. And it caught on, not so much in that company itself, but gave me the confidence to start telling other people that I'd done this. And so other clients were more open for me to do that. And so I began to do more and more developmental work. And so I maintained a balance of search and development. Did it just long enough to where I could say I no longer do searches, because my love was development. Executive development is really what I care about the most. It isn't, it's not that I don't like search at all. I learned tons by being in the search business. But it's that business of helping people get to be better executives and being able to evaluate executives and see their development needs and helping them get into some growth phases that they're neglecting.